A little bit of background. We brought Max in probably about a month or 3 weeks ago for a couple of days. He was very open to not only going through a medical exam, but also getting on the ice for us to see where he was at. He feels he's had a couple of years, 2.5 years, where he hasn't really had an opportunity to train. It has been, rehab for him. He came back last year, jumped in sort of halfway through the season, and at the end of the year, he felt like he wasn't where he wanted to be physically, so he's had a full summer of training. We'll see. Our expectation is that he is going to come in and give us more depth. All of that stuff is, trying to sort itself out in camp. I know we all get excited when we see guys added. What we're trying to do is make the roster as deep as possible. And this last quote, I think, is very important. My expectation is that he is going to be with us, but everyone has to earn their spot here, whether that is on the roster or playing with whoever they're playing with. It gives us a lot of different options.
He's worth a shot. Is it going to work out? Is it going to, I don't know, but it's worth a shot. So he says 2 years, right? He feels like he hasn't really.
2.5.
2.5. Yeah. So last year, 4 goals, 23 points in 47 games. The year before, 3 goals in 5 games, which is actually quite nice.
Right.
But he only played 5 games.
Yep.
That's it. The year before, his last season with the Golden Knights, 19 goals and 37 points in 39 games. And again, the games played is a problem.
Yeah.
It's a big problem, but that's essentially a point-a-game player. The season before, same issue, 48 games, although I think that was the shortened season, which means he would have still missed 8 games. But in 48 games, 24 goals and 51 points. So this guy, when he's healthy and in the lineup, his last couple of years in Vegas was a point-a-game player. I don't expect him to be that. It's not reasonable to expect him to be like, oh, fixed. Everything's fine at his age, the ripe old age of 35. Going to turn 36 and 88, baby, just like Jesse.
Oh,
What?
What? We're the same age as Max Pacioretty, eh?
Technically older, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Crazy.
It's pretty cool. But if he can get to 0.5, 0.6.
That's a great ad.
If he can chip in, we keep talking about Robertson. And
what did I tell you? Bertuzzi was like 0.54.
Exactly. Robertson's going to chip in, if he can get to 20 goals. If Robertson and Pacioretty are hovering around 20 each, solved. Now, one might take the other spot. So that's a bit of a potential issue that I could see on the horizon. How is he defensively after the Achilles issues and everything? But it's a flyer. You're taking a flyer on a guy. It's fine.
Jesse?
It's going to be interesting because a lot of Caps fans, when the signing happened, they were being like, yeah, woo, Leafs took him. He was one of our worst players in the playoffs.
Ian Olin was brutal.
He was brutal. Yeah, but I wonder if you asked Max if he'd be like, yeah.
Yeah, no, that was the point I was getting to. So when it happened, a lot of the Caps fans were like, yeah, he's not coming back, and good luck Leafs, he was the worst. But you have to take it with the context of everything you just outlined there, in that he had an Achilles injury that held him up for a couple years, and now he's finally having a full off season where he's able to train at the full extent that Max Pacioretty trains at. And Adam, you would know from Alan Walsh about how seriously Pacioretty takes his training. And if it's a guy who can't do that stuff because of an injury, and he's not good anymore in actual hockey and during the playoffs and everything, now it's a different player we got to be evaluating.
During the playoffs?
Yeah, he wasn't good during the playoffs, but it's because
are you specifically talking about Max Pacioretty's ability to be good in the playoffs for the Leafs?
I don't know. I was evaluating his performance.
Oh no!
I don't.
We made it this far.
No, that was such a stretch.
That was a stretch.
No, I wasn't, because I wasn't.
April jar. I brought one. It's okay.
April jar.
No, but I was talking about the previous April with Max Pacioretty in the Capitals, so I don't think that's what I was
not Leafs playoff.
Yeah,
but we know.
April
I think this didn't apply at all for the April.
He wanted it so bad.
Yeah, that was such a stretch. You should have waited till a Leafs conversation.
I know.
Don't worry, I brought more than $1.
I have stuff coming up that could have put you there. Hey, by the way, CJ reported on Wednesday that there was mutual interest between JVR and the Leafs for a reunion, and the Leafs ultimately went with Pacioretty. Now,
also, no one listening knows what you did.
That's not true.
He brought out a jar that says April jar on it because I suggested last episode that I was going to start one, and then Steve took the initiative.
No, I think the debut was really good.
It's great.
I think it was really good.
Yeah, no, I think we're into the first 10 minutes of this show are already amazing. Leafs could have brought back JVR or Max Pacioretty, and they chose Max Pacioretty. And I have to say, like, given the type of player, because I know there are people who, there's nostalgia factor is a factor here. Given the type of players that both of those guys were at the best points in their career and are now, I think they made the right call in theory. And I say that because it's not because I don't like JVR. I freaking love JVR. I'd love to plant his ass in front of a goalie on the power play again and have him just hit pucks in the way he used to because he was crazy at it, and it made the Leafs power play deadly. But his skating at the best of times was never great.
No.
And if he is not going to play a top six role, I struggle to see where he slots in because I don't see, unless he turns into like Jason Spezza flying knee, I don't see him being like a guy who's going to knock skulls together. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, 11 goals, 38 points in 71 games. Like,
it's good numbers.
Yeah.
Good numbers.
I just see you can bring in JVR and he could potentially I feel like his floor at this point in his career is higher than Pacioretty's. Pacioretty's floor is he doesn't play for you, right? But Pacioretty's ceiling is higher. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there's more potential in it.
There's more potential there. And
Yeah.
if he doesn't make it, wow.
Especially for a team that wants to be a little bit more mobile than I think they were last year. I think goes undersold how slow this Leafs team was. It was not a fast team last year. There are fast players on it, but they don't set up quickly and they don't move the puck quickly, and they're very intentional and very obvious, and teams who are actually good, regular season teams, it's like, well, they might not take you to task for it. In the playoffs, you get found out quick. What is it? No, that's
not how it works.
Not how it works, Steve.
It's not just any mention of the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's a mention of talking about, hey, the Leafs in the core four of the playoffs, and this is the result of it. That's what the April jar is for.
Hey, put that April jar away. Put it away.
Anytime you talk about the playoffs,
I'll put it back.
Back to what Brad Treliving was saying, this time on Nick Robertson. A reporter asked him, hey, how'd you sell Nick Robertson on this situation? And he said, it is not a sell. A lot gets made of him. You ask him, but Nick has gone through some stuff here, right? Some of it's been injury related, and sometimes with young players, their game is still evolving. I have a good relationship with Nick. We talked throughout the summer, and you explain, here is the situation, and everybody has to earn their stripes. I like Nick. He shoots it in the net. You have to do other things too. You have to round out your
great
game.
line.
That's a great line.
Yeah.
You have to round out your game. You have to be a complete player, but it is a fresh, clean slate with a new coach and a new opportunity. So clearly, this is less of a Leafs thing, more of a Sheldon Keefe thing.
I hope, first of all, I think you're right. Second, I hope Nick thinks carefully about what he's going to say, and at the first opportunity runs for a camera and says his piece and makes good. Because some fans are still salty about it, and I understand.
I get that.
I get it, but he's here.
Yeah, I also get why you're like, hey, man, give me a shot. And you guys aren't scoring goals in the playoffs, and you're going to scratch me in Game 7. What the hell? I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Okay.
Drop it in the April jar. I get that.
Okay.
We're going to donate a lot of money to Easter Seals here. This is
sure
going to be
are.
crazy. Yanni Hockenpah, gentlemen.
I'm going to make change.
Unless you got more to add.
I'm going to take that loony, put it in Toonie. All right.
Unless you got more to add on Nick Robertson, I wanted to move to Yanni Hockenpah, who, by the way, we had a nice little TikTok moment go viral because you calculated that there was $333 left for the
There
cap.
was.
Well, that's wrong.
And then, but
Because Yanni Hockenpah signed for $30,000 less than we thought he would.
yes. So they
now
have
there's
30,000.
$33,333 left.
I thought it was 30,333.
No, because you said, oh, no, it is 30,000.
Yeah,
because it wasn't
30,333.
So Yanni Hockenpah signs for 1.47, and here's what Brad had to say. Obviously, there was a bit of a delay with Yanni. We had Yanni in town earlier this summer for a bit of time. Our performance staff went out there 2-3 times. It was him going through rehab to the point where he and we felt confident. We'll see how it goes. There is certainly always a risk for any person coming off a knee injury. He has put in a lot of work. I think he had surgery and a scope on his knee in March. We went through the healing and the rehab, and he is doing well.
The Leafs are heavily leaning on their sports science department this year, eh?
Well, they've invested a lot of money. Maybe they should.
Yeah.
You got to take risks, man.
I said this in my Pateryn video. Like, they've prolonged a bunch of careers. Like
Tyler Ennis is one that sticks out.
Yeah, like we talk about Robidas Island, and that was a famous example of them being like, you're retired. You're retired, you're done.
Yeah.
But they've also prolonged some careers, not just guys who have dealt with extensive injury issues like Tyler Ennis, but a lot of older guys have been like, I could play there.
Yeah.
Because my body needs a lot of work right now, and they're the team to do it.
Am I mistaken? Do you guys remember a story where somebody had come to town too early and trained with performance staff, and then other NHL teams got mad about it?
Are
yes.
you thinking about when they
Or am I conflating two things?
when they added the rule because the Leafs were like flying guys around, that sort of stuff?
I think you might be conflating two things because it was a prospect. Like they on their dime flew a prospect in, and teams were like, you can't do that.
Because we're cheap.
Yeah, and they shut it down. Well, the way the Leafs have been running their performance department in that, like, hey, they're investing all this money into it. That's how you exercise your power as a big market team who makes all the money, because there's a salary cap. Everybody can only spend the same amount of money on the players. So the Leafs are doing the right thing by, we're rich, let's spend it in the ways we're allowed to spend it. And I think it's really smart of them. And even like recently last year, John Klingberg. Like in his back issues now.
It didn't work.
A plane ride ruined it for him, but he comes and he plays in Toronto because he knows he's going to get that support. And his back didn't have the support to hold up. But that's how you, as a big market team, you say, we're going to be better than the teams that don't spend this money.
Hakanpää, to me, seems like a better example of how it should work. And like there were still things wrong with the Klingberg signing. Like, if this is a, hey, maybe it'll work out signing, you don't give him $4.5 million.
No.
Right?
No, that was Stefan Robidas.
Yeah, like, let's say Hakanpää plays like 20 games for the team. It doesn't work out. It's 1 year, 1.47.
Yeah.
It's fine. You'll live. It's fine.
That's not anything where you're like, oh, we missed out on a guy because we spent all this money on Hakanpää. With Klingberg, that's $4 million.
It's a big consideration.
Yeah.
It's a big consideration.
Yep. Yeah.
Any of those guys, Hakanpää, Pacioretty, go through the lineup. I think it'll be okay.
I remember watching, I think it was either Global or TSN back in the day, because Global used to have significant, Global in Canada
Leafs games.
Used to have Leaf games all the time.
They used to have all the, like, a lot of Raptor games too.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm wrong about that. I thought the owner, I thought the Aspers who used to own it, I thought they were part owners in the Raptors too, but I'm not sure, so don't quote me on that.
It's fine.
I do know that I remember they did a story on the doctors that went to the game and looked after the players if they were injured. And they did a story on this doctor who was quite well renowned here in Toronto, and he had a day job. And like he would show up at the game at night, and he's just like, I have a wife, I have kids, but like I really love this and they understand, so I'm here every home game. And I just think about the difference. That was probably when I was 12 or 13. You think about the difference here 20, 25 years later, where it's like, you have dedicated performance staff. They went to school for this and this. Like this guy was like a pediatrician,
right?
And it's like, you hurt your knee, put some ice on it. Like,
now that is actually still the case today.
For the guys that are in the game.
There's a, I don't know if he still does it, but there's a member of the Leafs medical staff or training staff or whatever staff who has a private practice. I've been to
that. I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that. But like what I mean,
he fixed my shit. It was good.
That's great. No, but what I mean is like he wasn't relying on the Leafs to, you know what I mean? Like that guy probably doesn't need it if the Leafs are probably paying well for good talent.
Yeah. I think we've Adam's point is that we've come a long way with the investment in the medical staff that sits around the game.
Like you would be the side hustle. The Leafs are not the side hustle.
Right.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, Yannick Perreault, he's been out for a couple of weeks, but we've applied an adequate amount of leeches.
Yeah.
And we think we've solved the problem.